pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger roll, Atlanta.
Water towers can fly! Yes!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight down speed off. Bring in, SCE off.
Yikes. You bet. Okay. We don't need any more of these.
Hey folks, you know the drill. It's time for another launch with NASA Spaceflight here. John Galloway for NASA Spaceflight on console today as we wait for an internet rocket to relieve itself of its position between the four towers, which are for lightning protection. That's out of the way. We are going to be coming up on T-minus 30 minutes here, but we have a live stream. Give me some 5x5s in chat and let me know that you can hear me and see the rocket out there from the Cape. Let's get the rest of the team introduced as well. With me on comms here, I think we're going to have Mr. Jack Beyer. Jack, we got you on?
You've got me on. What's up, everybody? Let's launch some internet to space.
Launch more internet to space. And then all it does is just send the internet back down again. It's ridiculous. Also,
Yeah.
out in the field today, we've got Mr. Chris Gebhardt as well. Chris, are you on comms right now?
I am indeed. How is it going, everyone?
Excellent. Let me know if we can hear Chris and Jack there as well, y'all. And also, Steve Marr is out today as well. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty with the feed there, but he is out there going to be capturing some videos, photos, etc., etc. But we're not sure we're going to get a live feed from him, but all good. We've got Chris's camera here, and Chris, you are in a little bit of a different position today, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, so for those of you who have watched Starlink video or Starlink live streams with us before, you're probably going, what do you mean he's in a different location? It looks the same. We are, but we're a little bit closer. If you've watched some of our live streams before, some of you have commented, wait a minute, there are cars on a road a bit closer and in front of your camera. Why can't you go there? Well, that's where we are today. So we're not actually on the ITL Causeway. We are a bit closer to Slick 40 here and on that other roadway where we have seen some security vehicles and everything securing the area before liftoff. So a little bit closer, which is nice.
Closer today. Excellent. So, folks, y'all know the drill here. It's a live stream. It's NASA Spaceflight. We've got our own camera out there. We've got microphones put in front of our mouths so that we can talk to you, and hopefully you don't hear our lips smacking too terribly much. But if you've got questions for us, tag us in chat at NASA Spaceflight. Got some cool software here that'll grab some questions from you. Super chats as well. If you do super chats, those come in here. We try to say thank you to those as well, right up until we get to a couple minutes before launch. But as of right now, it looks like we are proceeding forwards with this launch of the Falcon 9 from the Cape from, let's see here. The four towers would be SLC-40 because there's no crew access arm and that sort of thing. So we'll start grabbing some questions here. And Chris, want to tell us a little bit about the mission today? We already joked internet rocket, Starlink. Oh, geez, another Starlink. Is there anything special about this one?
Well, depends on what you define as special. And one thing we will just confirm right off the bat, since we are under T-minus 35 minutes, fueling did begin here on time, so we are all set to go. Here for the Starlink mission. There's nothing overly unique about this one. There are 53 Starlink satellites on board. It is flying on a northeasterly trajectory to achieve the 53.2 degree inclination orbit that it requires. 53 version 1.5 satellites are about right for the maximum amount that's a Falcon 9 can take into this inclination from Florida based on mass restrictions for first stage recovery. So they basically put as many on as they can from a mass and weight standpoint in order to still be able to retrieve the booster. The booster is flying for the 12th time, which might seem like a significant milestone, but it is not the first booster to do that, actually. It is the second to achieve the 12 flight milestone, and another one is right behind it, waiting to do the 12 flights as well. So nothing really super special, except it's an internet rocket. So it will continue to build out the Starlink constellation and also eventually enable more stable connections for the northern and mid latitudes and eventual full completion of coverage down to the low inclination altitudes, like close to the equator, basically. So that is what is on tap here for today. I think a couple of other cool little things about this mission. It will land on the Just Read the Instructions drone ship, which is 630 kilometers northeast of here. The multi-purpose recovery vessel Bob is the one that will be recovering the payload fairings and doing the other types of support that are needed here as well. And
Can I just say that I
yeah.
love that there's a ship named Bob?
Yes, right.
Because it like bobs, because it's a ship. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Like
gosh.
Bob. It's just Bob.
Like it bobs
it.
up and down.
Yes, exactly.
Very
It bobs
good.
all around and it recovers fairings too.
Bobs all around. Nice. It comes bobbing right into port, doesn't it? Anyways, folks, just under
Love it.
30 minutes now. If you're just joining us, I know we just started the stream here. It's a SpaceX Falcon 9. It's Slick 40 out of Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. It's got 53 Starlink satellites on board. And this is the 12th time that B-1060 has flown. This is the 12th flight of this rocket that you can kind of see there. The rocket itself is behind the strongback, the TE, the transporter erector. But when it takes off, it will leave the transporter erector behind, and then you'll be able to see the booster and the second stage and the fairings, and hopefully eventually some Starlink satellites coming out of the top of it. We are going to grab a couple super chats in questions here real quick. If you got it, Jack, you want to hit some chats and questions?
Yeah, sure. Right off the bat, Austin Skirvin. Obligatory, what are those 4 towers? They are a lightning protection system. Yay. We've also got Jasper K suggesting 4 tower merch, which, dear Lord, may actually be coming.
Oh, jeez.
And then we also have just a kind of another fun one just to start off with. Brian is asking, any amphibian security today? Any sort of wild? I mean, you're across the water. You're at this closer location, so they would be behind you from this vantage point? Question mark.
So there is actually water in front of us, which you cannot see from this current camera view. But yeah, my friend, my aquatic security friend, who watched me a week ago over at the Turn Basin for SLS, has not shown up yet today. But to be fair, I am in a hat and sunglasses, so I am a bit disguised. So maybe he just doesn't realize that I'm here yet.
Nice.
And for those of you wondering what we're talking about, we are talking about the alligators that exist naturally here at Cape Canaveral and Merritt Island. If you go to my Twitter feed from a week ago, you can see one that took a really big interest in me over at Kennedy Space Center, but
That's
he's
not
not
good.
here today. Well, I was far enough away, but you know.
Okay. Just remember, zigzag or don't question mark.
Zigzag. That's a real thing.
Okay, really quickly, some super chats. Thank you everybody for supporting the channel. We've got Stefan asking, what is the tower in the middle just behind the strongback that has a Falcon 9?
Yes.
People are just finding all different ways to do the tower thing. We've got Musical Wolves saying, what are the flashing lights halfway up the towers?
Oh!
Oh, yeah. We don't normally see those.
Yeah, we don't normally see those, and I don't think
That's
we've
cool.
ever talked about this. That's a great question.
That would be like an aircraft advisory kind of thing, like a hazard light, I'm guessing?
Yep. Those are just the sort of standard, and any tower above a certain height in the U.S. has to have aircraft awareness lights so that under visual flight rules, aircraft will know that there are towers there to avoid and not hit.
That
and
makes sense.
That might sound weird because it's a spaceport. You can't fly over it, except you can fly over certain portions of it as civilians. But there are also Air Force flights and helicopters that need to be up for security protection, and they have to have the same security precautions that everyone else does.
Yeah, if you go to Kennedy or the Cape for a launch, there's a fair chance you will see a helicopter scooting around, following the beach line, and just in general checking out the area, at least one. Because, like you said, it's a security thing. Fun fact, if you ever see those, like, the balls that are on power lines sometimes, it's the same thing. It's all just about letting pilots know, like, hey, there's a hazard here.
Is that what those are?
Yeah, that's what those are.
Oh, I never knew that's what what those balls on power lines were for. Good to know.
Yeah, helicopter going into power lines is no bueno.
They try
Yeah.
to stay away from that, I think.
I hear. Yeah.
Mark W, thank you for the support. They say, go Internet Broomstick, go. Indeed.
Yes.
Moldy Space Industries says, in German accent, Das Fan Club. That's my best German accent. Thank you, Moldy Space, for the
Jeez.
support. Greg Dietz. It's Moldy Space. I got to do it right. Greg Dietz, thanks for the support. They say, why is the transporter erector retract differently in Vandenberg versus the Cape? I think they just built the
Very good
transporter
question.
erector like at Vandenberg differently. I'm not sure why they built it differently, but it's just it doesn't need to support as high of a cadence as is my gut.
That's it. That's exactly it. So the transporter erector that you see at Vandy is the original transporter erector design. It's the same one that was here at 40 before the Amos conflagration incident, and they got to rebuild the pads. So they rebuilt it with the rapid turnaround transporter erector that Pad A and Pad 40 have, because you can basically turn these pads around in as little as 7 days. With this sort of transporter erector design that throws back to 45 degrees because it protects all of the propellant and upper stage connections much better than the one at Vandenberg has, but the one in Vandenberg only needs to be turned around about once a month. So just different designs for different cadences.
Whenever somebody
Makes
asks
sense.
why something at SpaceX is different, you can just say rapid iteration.
I mean,
Pretty
you're
much.
not wrong. You're
Why is
not,
that
you're not
different?
wrong.
Rapid iteration. Why'd they do that? Rapid iteration. That's the answer you can say just about every single time. I have a treat for us really quickly because it is a busy day out there at the Cape.
I
But
like
it's
treats.
not just one rocket we have on the pad today. It's not just two rockets we have on pads today. We can actually show you 3 different rockets that are on 3 different pads here. We got Steve's feed up and running over from Playa Linda, a public viewing spot that you can get to. But over there on the left-hand side, in the distance, you can see 39A awaiting that Crew 4 mission launch of Falcon 9 up there with the crew access arm sticking out. Then you've got SLS in the closer pad there, only 3 towers at that pad. And then we've got Slick 40 as well with the Falcon 9 that'll be launching today. So the little box has the rocket that's going today, but there are 2 other rockets hanging out the pad. Go ahead.
And just behind, from that vantage point where Steve is, just behind Pad 39A, you might be able to see the vertical integration facility at Pad 41. And I mentioned that because Starliner's booster is being stacked inside of 41 right now. So 4 rockets being prepared on 4 side-by-side launch pads right now at the Kennedy Space Center and the Cape. And if you count the Delta 4, which I will for this because it is inside the horizontal integration facility at 37B, it means the North 5 launch pads are all being processed with rockets right now.
They all
And
have a
that
rocket.
Is freaking cool. Rocket
got-
Row is back.
The Delta 4 at 37. You got 41 with the Atlas. You got 40 with the SpaceX Starlink we see today. The Falcon 9 is actually the type of rocket. We got another Falcon 9 at 39A, and then we got SLS.
Yes, indeed.
Excellent. At 39.
It's
I guess
so
I should
nice.
say 39B. What a
It's
good
really
problem
marvelous.
to have.
Yeah, I mean, after so many years too of such a slow pace in the general space industry and program, yay, space things.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Let's
go
see
ahead,
here.
Jack. Let's get some more questions.
Cool. Okay. This one I actually like, Dale. You did good. Dale asks, why are there 4 towers? Any reason not 1, 3, 6, or any other number?
Rapid
Why
iteration.
4?
Wait.
Bam, rapid iteration.
Wrong company.
Here is our 20-minute vent. So let's just talk about that because we always do that.
Normal.
Yeah, which is normal. Yep, which is totally normal. But yeah, this is our big vent at T-minus 20 minutes, which basically prepares the transporter erector for a fuel transition. So they are done fueling the second stage with RP1 kerosene fuel, and now they will load the oxidizer, the densified liquid oxygen, into it. So this is a purge of the transporter erector, getting it ready for that change in propellant load to the second stage. And that's exactly what we want to see. But why 4 towers here? Why only 1 at 39A? Why 3 at B? Why 2 at 37B? It basically comes down to, in part, when the launch pads were constructed, what vehicle they were constructed for and what the sort of best practice for that type of protection is. So Pad 40 that you're looking at here, and its neighboring pad, Pad 41, with the that ULA uses for the Atlas and the soon-to-be Vulcan rocket, have 4 because that was sort of the prevailing best practice in the 70s when these pads were built for the Titan rockets in the Titan era. Pad A only has 1 because the shuttle program only used a single Lightning mast at the top of it. 37B has 2 because for the Delta IV and their structures there, that was the most efficient design that they could come up with for the protection when they needed to rebuild that in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then Pad B is actually an interesting one because they redesigned it for SLS for Constellation. But the basic story there is 3, when they were sort of looking at the entire area that they needed to protect from lightning strikes there, 3 was actually the best and most efficient because 3 lightning towers results in a 1 in 10,000 year, not chance, 1 in 10,000 year
Wow.
option that lightning would actually miss the towers or the catenary wires and actually strike a vehicle or something and miss them. So that is why they came up with the 3 designs for SLS, because of the sheer size that they need to protect.
Excellent. And subtly reminding me why I'm not interested in math or statistics. It does not sound like a fun thing to have to calculate. But hey, if that's your thing, go for it.
I don't know, Jack. It sounds like you could just make that number up, and who's going to prove you wrong? Like somebody's going
I'm
to sit
certainly
around
not.
for 10,000 years and say, nope, it struck it twice in 10,000 years. You were wrong with your... Like, it seems like you could just make that stuff up.
Well, Gus, don't you know, 62% of all statistics are made up.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know, I think the only thing I would add to that is nature has a way of humbling you when you make up statistics about it.
That's true. That is true.
Nice.
We like to think we understand and can control nature. Joke's on us. Really quickly, thank you, Nujuous Media Productions, for becoming a new member, a Capcom member, which is extra awesome because you get Discord access at Capcom level and above. If you guys don't know, we have the membership program. It helps what we do. It supports what we do, helps us keep the lights on, keeps the bills paid, and it's really excellent because, you know, sometimes views on YouTube go up, views go down, but the membership program is like our rock solid bedrock, and so thank you so much to all of our members. Can't tell you enough how much we appreciate you. We literally couldn't do what we do without you. So thank you for becoming a new member there. Let's see. We've also got $2 from Matt Hicks. Thank you, Matt. They say, do you guys think SpaceX will hit 60 launches? I'm assuming they're wondering this year because SpaceX has already launched more than 60 times. Do we know what they're aiming for this year? I'm thinking, like, is there an Elon tweet or something?
Yes, and that's where it comes from, actually. So yeah, about 60 is the target that Elon gave 3-ish weeks ago. Right now, which means they would have to average just more than 1 a week. And Alex is the man. Alex, who wrote the launch article for it today, actually already has the statistic in it. Since December of 2021, they have actually averaged about 1 a week. So they're doing good, but they're not really hitting the cadence that they need quite yet to get to 60. But this month would be an important one if they can do it, because this month actually has 5 over a 30-day period that are scheduled. This is the 4th, so Crew 4 is the 5th, and Crew 4 is the weird one because it's the one that we need Axiom to come back with. We need Axiom to come back first, and then we need about 4 days between them to clear Dragon Endeavor and Freedom to launch that closely to one another. So will they be able to do it? Seems like they will, and that the biggest question is just when Axiom comes back and the effect it has on Crew 4. But from a May standpoint, we'd be at 5 for the month, and if they can hit 4 or 5 a month, they'd get between 50 and 60 this year.
Wow. I mean, even 50 is an insane number.
Yep.
And I get to do the thing. No,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to mention, a lot of that is, of course, we need to mention because of the internal missions with Starlink.
Got it. Let's see. Michelle Pierce, thank you for the support. Musical Wolves, thank you for the support. Mike Smith, thank you for the generous support there. Rough Riders, thank you. CANP Railroad, thank you. JML, thank you. Zachary Silk.
Coffee. Yeah.
Zachary Silk says, yeah, for coffee funds.
Nice.
Zachary Silk says happy birthday, which is it somebody's birthday? I didn't think
I'll
so.
take it. Hey, thanks, Zach. It's not my birthday,
Yeah.
but take every birthday I can get, honestly.
Indeed.
Good deal. And there's a bunch of people coming through with Super Chats. We do try to read the Super Chats on occasion, folks. It's not the only way you can support the stream, though. Remember, you can hop over to our shop if you like cute, cuddly things. In the NASA Spaceflight shop, we've got the last of the Starship plushies. We actually had a big old batch of Starship plushies made, and there are still a couple available over in the shop at NASA, or shop.nasaspaceflight.com. So if you hop over that way, you get a t-shirt or something like that. Get one of those plushies before they run out. It is another cool way to support the stream and make it so that we can keep showing up and provide y'all with all of these different live views of what's happening out there at the... Oop, not that one. Sorry. That's a different one.
Oh, I feel like I just won bingo or something. It's like, is that the first? Is it the first Bluebird shot in a live stream of this year? I think we just hit a milestone.
I snuck
Spring
one
has
into
sprung.
Starbase Live. the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, here, we'll sneak another one in right quick. But that's actually not the Falcon 9, that's the Bluebird 4. Hop in the nest. Come on, I know you're right outside the nest. Hop in.
That's the Falcon 9 nursery.
The Falcon 9
Doss
nursery.
runs outside and is like, ooga booga booga, trying to get the bird to go in the nest.
To go in the nest. No, it was right there. I saw the beak go in, then I was going to show it. I had this whole thing set up with, like, if you like cute, cuddly things, then I was going to go from, like, Bluebird sitting in the nest to the plushies, but it didn't work out because she left to go get a worm or something.
Well, it is an artful segue, even though it didn't work out. But
I tried.
Just quickly on the plushies, I'm really shocked they hadn't sold out yet. I mean, I think we sold through our initial batch really quick, but we had like a secret reserve, and the secret reserve is now what's on sale, and they're going to be done. And don't be one of those people that's like, oh, I wish I'd gotten one, because once they're done, they're done. I mean, we might do more, but who knows? That right now, once they're done, they're done. So get a plushie if you want a plushie.
Yep.
Let's see. Here's one. I forgot. I can do the thing where I get to ask a question that I want to know the answer to. Chris, was there ever a point with where both Crew Dragons would have been on station at the same time, both Axe 4 and Crew, or Axe 1 and Crew 4?
That's a great question. No, because there aren't enough docking ports, because Crew 3 with Dragon Endurance is still there. So Axiom took the other U.S. docking port when it arrived. So the only way to have gotten Crew 4 up there would have been to forego the direct handover between Crew 3 and Crew 4 and bring Crew 3 home early, and they would not do that unless it was absolutely necessary.
Makes sense. All right, let's go back to y'all's questions. Don't forget, you can at NASA Spaceflight and ask us questions, which we may then talk amongst ourselves about, and may or may not be right about. But we try to be right.
You can't just tell them that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, they've seen behind the curtain. Dr. Oz is just a guy pulling levers. Let's see. Harry Young is asking, what was that scrub earlier about, and why do we have a second attempt today? Was that technically a scrub if they're moving to the second window?
The age-old question, what constitutes a scrub? I personally argue that you can't scrub it if you don't start to fuel it, because you're not leaving the ground unless you start to put propellant in it. But I think scrub, delay are all 6 of 1 in this regard. In terms of why they can do another one, so on these Starlink launch days, they basically have 2 orbital planes that they can launch into, and those planes are back-to-back. So in terms of like Earth's rotation carrying you to that plane. So you can basically target your first plane, and if something goes wrong, you've already reserved the backup time later that same day on the range as a just-in-case, so they can move to that one fairly quickly now if they should need to, which is exactly what they opted to do today. And we've seen them do that a couple of other times. In terms of what caused the delay from the first window to the second window today, all SpaceX said was it was weather. They did not elaborate if that was ground launch weather or recovery weather downrange or in-air weather, such as wind shear. However, I will just say it was far windier than anyone expected here this morning. So it wasn't a huge surprise that they slipped because of weather. It was also really overcast, looked like it was threatening to rain here at a certain point. So exactly what the weather was, we don't know, but it was weather, not a technical issue.
I'm sorry, but I just love the phrase "threatening to rain." I just picture like a big puffy cloud, like "I'll do it, I'll do it."
Shaking its fist.
Yeah, don't push me.
Don't
I'll
push
really
me.
do it this time. I'm sorry,
Oh God, now I love that. Yes.
Robbie Rob. With this is the 12th flight of this booster, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Robbie Rob is asking, do you think we'll ever see a 20th, 30th reflight of a booster, or will they phase out the old ones to replace them before they can reach those milestones? I say yes.
Yeah, great question. We'll definitely get to 20. I say we'll get to 30 on these, no problem. In fact, at the rate they're going, they'll probably get to 20 on one or more of these things this year.
That'll be neat. Big milestone. What do you think, Das?
I think they'll get there. I know we've talked about them doing some. How much do they refurbish it? How much do they take off? How much do they actually have to replace versus are they just inspecting things? And I imagine that they're going to keep flying the rockets as long as they can fly their rockets. And every now and then, just like an aircraft, if you like the aircraft model that Elon likes so much, you take the thing back and you look at the engines, and you do a little bit more of a maintenance on it every 10,000 hours, 5,000 hours, or whatever, right? And I have a feeling the rockets will get to sort of the same place. At some point, they're going to want to know when they reach the end of it. Can you get 30, 50, 100 flights out of a single booster? What is the limit? I have a feeling they're going to keep going for it, you know?
Yeah, and every now and then maybe they'll pull a flight leader and examine it really thoroughly or something, and depending on what they see, they keep going. So hopefully they're able to keep going, because the description that you give of it being more like an aircraft, where they, after so many thousand hours or so many number of flights or whatever, they do an overhaul and then it goes right back in the fleet. Like that sounds great to me.
We're under 7.5 minutes now. We've just come up under 7 minutes and 30 seconds before the launch of the Falcon 9 here with the Starlinks aboard.
Go Internet Rocket, go.
Go
Indeed.
Internet Rocket.
I love that that's what we call it.
The Internet Rocket.
It's so perfect and concise. Earlier when we were talking about the Starlink satellites, I was going to be like, well, so basically they're not really creating internet. They're more just bouncing internet. They're just fancy internet bouncers.
Internet bouncers. Internet trampolines.
There we go.
I love it. Really quick, Donkey Hunter, thank you for the support. Colpoke, thank you for the support. James Juries wants me to say something nice about SN11's flight. It was really good at producing sharp shrapnel. Sedated Wee, thank you for becoming a Capcom member. Again, thank you to all of our members, and thank you to Sedated Wee. We hope you get the Discord access link sorted out, and you jump in Discord, and I'll send you my customary Forrest Gump wave hello. James Juries, just trying to get some of these done before we get too close into launch. James Juries, again, says, happy birthday, Das, I guess. I'll make you a dragon out of polymer clay. That's pretty cool. No one made me a dragon out of polymer clay on my birthday.
Clay. And
Michelle.
can it gain sentience? Like, I'm a little bit concerned about polymer clay, honestly.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. I
Be
feel like
careful
you're
when
referencing
accepting
something.
gifts.
I feel like you're referencing something that I'm not getting, but I still like it. Cole Logan, thank you. Jim Cabot, thank you. Musical Wolves, thank you so much. And Ron Smith, thank you. Says, yay, Bluebird Cam. And Michelle Pierce says, how many scrubs do you think it's going to take to get Crew 4 off the launch pad? None? Can we go with none?
Scrubs? Yeah, I don't think we'll have scrubs. I mean, we'll see. I mean, scrubs can happen. They certainly can. But
I feel like we've said that word way too many times already.
yeah,
I'm going to hear you. You have to be quiet.
Yeah. Shh. Cool. Well, that's it for Super Chats. We're getting into the serious part of the count. About 5 minutes to go. John is asking, what number of launches for SpaceX is this? I'm guessing they're asking this year.
Oh, fascinating question.
I just put you on the spot, didn't I?
You totally did. I do.
Here's the part where I wait for chat to spam
it's
a number.
I believe it's total. It's 140. This is the 148th flight or mission of the Falcon 9, but I don't remember how many they have done this year off the top of my head. No. But overall, it's 148. 148 is the total number.
Howard was the first person in chat to say a number, so I'm just going to go with that and say that it may or may not be right. And he says it's 15, and I'll Google it when I get a chance. Let's see.
Just keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Let's see. How? I don't think we know. We don't know the answer to that. Going through the questions here. 4 minutes to go. Todd is asking, is there a date for the Falcon Heavy launch in June yet? Going to make a trip to see that one.
A date for the Falcon Heavy in June. So yeah, let's hit the Falcon 9 manifest really quick. There are several this year. The one that I would say book your tickets and take that chance is Psyche on August 1st. Psyche is an interplanetary launch window to Jupiter. It has got it's an interplanetary launch window that's going out to Jupiter distances and out to asteroids, but not actually going to Jupiter. But it is the one that has the interplanetary launch window. That's the one that's going to stick. All the other sort of USSF, Space Force, NRO ones that are on the board are all those launch dates are sort of up in the air. And we have seen all of them, not just from SpaceX, but ULAs as well, moving rapidly ever since the Russian invasion of Ukraine happened. So don't know from the U.S. Air Force, Space Force, NRO side, but I would say if you really want to see one and you want the best shot of booking the flights early, go with Psyche, which is currently targeting August 1st.
All right, we're under 3 minutes now here.
Yes,
and you
we
can
are.
see some venting from Falcon 9 that's sort of similar to or is it from the erector itself? That's like similar to the T-minus 20-minute vent, right?
It is indeed. So we're seeing some minor puffing and venting right now, and then we will see about a minute and a half before liftoff is when we will see the actual final vent that purges the erector for liftoff.
Yep.
But with 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go, I am going to hop off comms, and I will rejoin you after liftoff so that I can track. We do have cloud cover, so I'll track for as long as I can before it disappears.
Think hole in the cloud thoughts, y'all. Quick check with the sky from
Yes.
Fleet Cam over here. This is at Rusty's Seafood and Oyster Bar in the port, our partner there at Port Canaveral. You can see we've got a couple of bits of blue up there. So hopefully we get a nice track for the rocket. I mean, we might luck out and actually get a little bit more visibility, but that is the sky above the Cape as we are now under 2 minutes before the launch of Starlink. Falcon 9 rocket launching from Slick 40 at the Space Force Station up to carry those Starlink satellites into, well, space.
Are those anti-bird devices on the right there? Those little...
Oh, yeah, they spin around, yeah.
That's wild.
They're like little spinny things. The birds don't care. The birds use them like calisthenics devices. They like hop over them and stuff. So,
it's like a sweet bird obstacle course.
And there is that big purge from the transporter erector as the rocket clears out all the lines in preparation for launch. So coming up on 1 minute. You ready for this, Jack?
Yeah, let's do this. Let's send some satellites into space and expand access to the internet for people in other areas that otherwise don't have good coverage, or do have good coverage but not not optimal. There's many things that Starlink could be used for, like planes. I can think of planes already have internet, but maybe not that great internet. And maybe if we can get Starlink on planes, we can have better internet in flight. How nice would that be?
Falcon 9 flight computers have taken control of the countdown. We're less than a minute now, so the rocket is in startup, and it's going to decide if it goes or not. This is where it gets into the part of the count where it can say, whoa, something's wrong, I'm not going. But they have put the launch in the rocket's hands here now, so everything looks good. T-minus 30 seconds. Bring up some of that field audio so we can get the rumble of the rocket and Chris yelling at it, and see what we get here today.
There we go, liftoff. And it's cleared
Look
the
at
4
that.
towers.
3 rockets, one of them's flying. has it. You can see the lights, the fire coming from the engine there out on fleet cam. That's why we have multiple cameras.
Got that nice flyby from that bird too on fleet cam. Nice timing, bird.
Just in time. We'll see if Steve or Chris are able to reacquire it. It looks like those clouds that we see from fleet cam are up above both of them. Not see it in the sky, but luckily SpaceX answered the phone when I asked them to put a camera on the rocket and give us access to it via the same YouTube feed that everybody else can watch. So we'll go ahead and watch the SpaceX rocket cam here. Now this one's going downrange,
Yes,
remember.
indeed.
It's going towards a drone ship landing. Northeastern trajectory, so we're not going to see it come back to the Cape today, but hopefully we get solid video all the way down to the landing on the drone ship.
Hopefully we do too. I mean, that was killer sound. I will at least say that for them.
Yeah, that cloud layer must have been just reflecting all of it back or something, because that was really fantastic audio.
It really was, really, truly was. But yeah, I never saw it again after it lifted off and went through the clouds.
The sound of 9 engines tearing the air asunder.
Exactly. And
So
I
we
love
can
these.
see it. It looks like the plumes. I would never know if this is real or just perceived on my end. The plume from the engines. It almost looks like you can tell when and where the engines are gimbling. Like it looks like it's coming off to the one side or coming off to the other. Is anyone else? I mean, is that just me or is that actually a thing?
It can definitely, yeah, the plume can definitely show that to some degree, just as well as just how the air is in the tenuous upper atmosphere is just sort of flowing around the vehicle still in that moment.
Super cool. Coming up on SEP and SEP.
Yep.
Yay.
There you go.
And a little bit of rocket ballet here as the first stage does a flip, and the second stage lights its engine. Grid fins coming out, fairing coming off.
There you go.
Everything's looking good.
There we go. And what I love is you can still hear it clear as day here, like really low, very low frequency rumbles and pops in the atmosphere from the stage engine still.
You can still hear it, Chris? Like,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you can hear it, yeah. Still very
Nice.
faintly, yeah. Yeah. Ah. These dual views never get old.
Nope. It's just so cool. I'm so glad a rocket that does this exists, because a rocket launch is cool and all. You know, it goes to space. It's a thing going to space. That's awesome. But a rocket launch where there's multiple components to the launch, you know, in terms of the first stage coming back and landing, doing a boost back burn, the times when it does that, or the entry burn, it adds to the excitement and fun. And it's good. It's lowering the cost of space, and it's just neat.
Exactly. Exactly.
So if you watch the velocity of the first stage on the left there, it's going to start rapidly increasing. And then they'll do the boost back burn, they'll do the entry burn, and it'll rapidly decrease. So that's something fun to keep your eye on. On
You know
the
what-
right
what-
side, we have the second stage speed, which looks like it's holding. I wonder if that's correct or what. Sorry, Chris, what were you going to say?
Let's hope it's not correct.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it
just
it
updated.
Tick up. Okay, let's hope it's not correct, because that's a problem if it is.
the telemetry was missing for a little while. It looked like there was some sort of issue with the overlay on SpaceX end. Like they came
Yeah.
back with 2 cameras, but the overlay was completely gone. So
Yeah, it looks like they're having a few telemetry hiccups here with just what's coming down from from the stages and being displayed here, because I'm noticing both the first and second stage are undergoing that same telemetry hiccup there. So yeah, so just it looks like a hiccup in what's being displayed there. But Jack, what I was actually going to say is, it's fascinating, and don't ever want to run and do this right now. Do this after. But what I noticed really from the NRO launch that we had out of Vandenberg with the return to launch site just a few days ago was the velocity differences of the first stage when it's re-entering the atmosphere, when it's relighting its engines and everything. When they do these sort of downrange landings, they're at 7,500, 8,500 kilometers per hour when they're doing that entry burn at like 65 kilometers up in the atmosphere, and it was only like 2,300 or something like that when they did it on with the landing that came back. And we talk a lot about the various landings, but it's worth pointing out that certain landings take more stress on the vehicle, like the one we're seeing right now with the entry burn underway now with the Falcon 9 on the left-hand side of your screen. This is a much more intense reentry that the boosters are put through when they come down like this at the higher velocities. It's higher heating, it's higher stress than when they do the return to launch site landings, which is why they opt to do return to launch site when there is the propellant reserve in the booster in order to do those. So very, very interesting that you can clearly see the velocity differences between the two if you go back and do them side by side.
Interesting. I will do that later, as you suggested.
And then I just love this part. Like the entry burn's done, but the velocity is just dropping rapidly because of how thick that atmosphere is now on the first stage.
Yeah, it's just descending into thicker and thicker air, and thus it's sort of like hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Very thin wall. But there's mass. I mean, there's matter in the air. The air is made up of matter that has mass, and you do have to move through it. It's a fluid. So looks like they're having some hiccups with that booster video, but the telemetry looks like it's kicking along. Let's see if they get a shot from the drone ship. It's 7 kilometers up based on their telemetry now.
Yeah, that was good. The last sea landing had the booster all the way to the drone ship, which was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we got it back.
Looks like they got it back. It's a little hiccupy.
Little pixely. Looks like someone's doing some data moshing.
Ah, those clouds, though. I mean, it's just diving through the clouds.
Yeah.
That's epic.
Oh, and the landing burn has started.
Wow.
Woo,
Talk about instrument flight rules.
Right. Oh, my favorite shot. There's
the
drone ship.
Please hold video. Please hold video. Please hold video. Wow.
Wowie!
Epic.
God.
That was awesome.
It's tough out there today.
That little show-off translation to the left, like, not quite centered.
Yeah. I was going to say, it looks tough out there because they didn't get it dead in the center like they usually do.
Yeah.
It's like, gosh, SpaceX, when this is a problematic landing, it's like, really, it's not exactly in the center? They must be doing something right, if that's the biggest problem they had.
Well, really what they're trying to do is they're trying to even out areas of the deck that get rocket plume impingements. So they're like doing a little circle within the circle. So everything's great. Everything's perfect. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up.
Well, speaking of perfect, that looks like a good orbital velocity speed to me, 27,000 some odd kilometers an hour.
Yep. When was the deploy? How long was the deploy before here?
Oh, that's right. So this is the hour-long profile to deploy.
Ah. So probably not sticking around until the actual deployment occurs.
Yeah. So if you remember, they had that weird thing with the first Starlink launch back in February, where they launched into the lower deployment altitude for the to enable the tension rods and everything to deorbit naturally very quickly. But then that pesky solar event occurred, thickened our atmosphere, and they lost all the Starlinks. So they now deploy into a slightly higher orbit that requires a bit of difference in terms of how the stage flies and how it has to do these burns to get it into a roughly 305 by 315 kilometer initial deployment orbit now.
And I've cut over here to my favorite view on launch day. Wait a second. Steve pointed this out. There are actually still 2 rockets on launch pads at the Cape. Of course, the normal thing we like to say is it's our favorite view on launch day to see a pad that no longer has the rocket on it, because that means we get to see a launch. But today there are 2 other pads that have 2 other rockets on it that hopefully we will get to see. Well, one launch soon and the other one launch soon, TM.
It's like how launch pads in the space center should work, right? All right, one's gone. Show the next ones, like waiting in the queue.
I like
Yep.
it. Yeah, I mean, we don't like go to an airport and say, okay, the plane left. Now show the empty runway.
Maybe you don't. I do.
I was gonna say, there's definitely a YouTube channel I've seen that does that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, fair.
Well, let's talk about that real quick, because we know that we're still waiting for the launch of that Falcon 9 from 39A. What's the current status on that, Chris? There was some weather.
Yeah.
The space station was full. There was no room at the inn, sort of deal, and so they're waiting until Axiom comes down so that Crew 4 can go up. What's the current idea with when Crew 4 may go?
Yeah, so the current idea is very much like you were alluding to. It's linked very much to Axiom 1's return date. So Axiom 1 is currently scheduled to undock from the station on Saturday at the earliest due to weather in the Atlantic and Gulf. And if they can undock Saturday and come home a few hours thereafter, then Crew 4 would be Tuesday morning at 4 something a.m. I forget the exact liftoff time, but right now we're looking no earlier than early Tuesday morning local time.
All right, and we are planning on being out for that one too. Are you going to wake up for that?
Oh, that's so we don't go to bed.
No, so not waking up, just not going to bed the night before.
Exactly. Oh yes, we will be here for that one. Most definitely. Yes.
West Coast, Best Coast. I just have to stay up late.
Oh my gosh, you can really come off that last launch from the West Coast and stick with your West Coast Best Coast thing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I had a great view the entire time. So.
Well, you had a great view at like T plus 30 seconds and beyond.
That's fair.
All right. How are we doing with the super chat queue and stuff like that? Let's make sure we don't leave anything hanging here coming up on the end of the stream. We won't be able to stay live until the spacecraft separation because, like Chris said, that is going to be almost an hour away now. But let's make sure we clear out those super chats, super chews.
Super chews?
Super chews.
Dogs
sounds
like
like
that. Super
It
chews.
sounds like like a tasty candy, like a super lifesaver or something. Anyways,
There you go.
we have a couple more super chats. Robert, also memberships. Robert, thank you for becoming a new PadRat member. PadRat members get some cool extra content on YouTube, like preview videos and photos and whatnot. And they also get members emoji, which I'm going to throw a triple star hopper into chat. Star heavy hopper, a heavy star hop, something like that.
A heavy star hopper? Yeah.
Yeah, star hopper heavy. Robert, thank you for the support in the membership program there. We seriously, all of our members, I know I say it a lot, but it's so key to what we do. So thank you so much to all of our members. And similarly, thank you to, I'm sorry, I'm going to not get your name right, but Ty McLymont. Thank you, Ty McLymont. I'm sorry for how I'm pronouncing your name if it's wildly incorrect, but became a Capcom member. Again, Capcom and above, you get Discord access. So when that propagates for you, hop into Discord and we'll show you all the different channels and you can take root wherever you see fit. We've got a lot of different really fun channels, including the KSP and gaming channel. And I don't know, someday maybe we'll add a food channel. I'm starting to think maybe we need a food channel, but I digress. Thank you so much for the support there. We already got a lot of channels.
We got a bunch of those preview shots as well. So we get photos in from Boca that aren't posted publicly. Sometimes we put those up for the members in the Discord. There's a lot of different things that you can see. Sometimes we release a video before we actually release it to everybody else. While it's still being edited and stuff like that, we'll take a little clip out and we'll say, check it out, Raptor 2's at Starbase. So there's a lot of different things. If you're a super space fan, you want to get access to some of that stuff before it happens. Okay, you can't get access to it before it happens, but you can get access to it before it's released to the public. There's no tachyons involved or anything.
I was going to say, the Chronoton Matrix is in flux, Captain.
Love it.
We looked through a wormhole and we can see the future. Our cameras don't do that yet, but if you want some access to the cool behind-the-scenes stuff and that sort of thing, the membership program is a great way to get access to that. So thanks for all the support there, y'all. Every day
Yeah, that
usually, says Chris. Yeah, cool. Go ahead, Jack.
Yep. No, that reminds me. I need to upload the footage I have from remote setup from NRO 85 for members. That'll be a cool member perk. I'll get that done today. James Jury's also with a super chat. Again, thank you, James Jury, saying, can we rename Falcon 9 Scrubs to Sweeps because broomstick? I'll see myself out. All right, thank you, James.
Like that.
And our final one for the day from James as well, saying, DOS will never get to see empty pad after launch for Starship. I'm guessing because Starship comes back is what they're talking about.
Yeah. Speaking of coming back, on this camera that we've got got up right now, this is actually our fleet cam. It's our 24/7 camera at Port Canaveral. So in just a few days, you should see that booster 1060 come back. It'll come right into port here. It'll be unloaded right across from our camera. You can see all the operations, how they take it off the drone ship. They hook it up on that crane there on the far side of the cargo ship, and they actually lay it down horizontally and then drive it off. So if you're interested in watching what happens to a booster after launch day, you'll see it right here on Fleet Cam. Again, massive thanks to Rusty Seafood and Oyster Bar over there out at Port Canaveral, who we've partnered with to get this camera operational. So a couple days, you'll see 1060 come back and go at it again, hopefully.
Indeed.
That's what we hope, right? It's number 13 now.
Oh, that's
one
right.
last thing. I forgot. We almost didn't mention the Cape flyover video that just came out.
Oh, jeez. We do a lot of stuff, it seems.
Right? I mean, we do. we put all of that support from y'all into work in many different ways. And one of the ways is the Cape flyovers we've been doing. Because SpaceX is starting to build up their Starship infrastructure out there and starting to build, indeed, the Starship Tower at 39A. So if you want to keep up on everything that's been going on with that, go check out the most recent flyover video after you're done hanging out and watching this.
We do have cool flyover videos.
Indeed.
Stall a lot. There you go. Flyover videos like that. That's what they look like. So if you're interested in seeing the Cape from the air, we've got a ton of cool detail shots. There's Blue Origin. They do rocket things on occasion. That looks like the shuttle landing facility. That is, there's some Starship towers being built. So if you're interested, let's get a link to that video in chat so y'all can go and check out that flyover we did at the Cape.
You know, one thing I'll say about those, too, is it is always impressive to me how much changes in just a week.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we don't necessarily fly every single week. Like sometimes it'll be like 10 days or what have you. But yeah, in between each flight, it's like you blink and you missed it. There's so much that goes on. So it's pretty cool that we're able to keep track of what's going on, not only in Texas but also now in Florida.
Indeed.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that brings us up to the. I'm not going to play. Hey, if you want to see the rest of the flyover video, click on the link and go watch it. I think that brings us no free flyover videos here on the live stream. I think that brings us to the end of our coverage today. Chris, I know you're packing up out there, but we've covered just about everything, I think, right? Did I miss anything?
We did not, although, of course, I'm in the middle of packing up, and this is when the 3 helicopters choose to come overhead.
Oh, jeez. Wave at them.
Yeah.
So, folks, the crew for today, you just heard the voice of Mr. Chris Gebhardt, Assistant Managing Editor for NASA's Spaceflight. He was out there on the Space Force Station bringing us that close-in live camera view of the launch. Chris, thank you so much for joining us and answering questions.
My absolute pleasure, as always. Can't wait to do it again soon.
Excellent. And then we also had Stephen Marr out there, that wide shot with SLS in the foreground, 39A in the background, and the Falcon 9 rising from behind the pad. That was Mr. Stephen Marr carrying another one of our video remotes out to Playa Linda. What Steve saw today is actually a public viewing site, so if you're ever down there, you can view a launch from Playa Linda, where that camera was today. It's a really great place. Make sure you call ahead and make sure it's open, because sometimes it gets closed based on the launch and stuff. But massive thanks to Mr. Stephen Marr for rolling out today and bringing us those shots. Got Jim on Twitter as well. He's Space Coast Steve. Little URL there. Somebody put a link in chat. It's easier to click it. And he may have some other shots coming up from today as well over on his Twitter. Back in the studio, Mr. Jack Beyer. Jack, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for watching and supporting everything that we do. It's super fun to be able to cover all of the stuff that's happening in space, in the space flight world. I don't even know what you call it. It's awesome. What we get to do is awesome. And so thanks, everybody, for the support. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
like in the spaceflight world, or is it like out of the spaceflight world? I feel like I should say
Out of this world. Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know.
There's something there. We'll workshop it.
Which way that works, yeah. All right, and last but not least here, folks, my name is John Galloway for NASA Spaceflight. Telling you thank you so much for joining us today. We're happy we're able to share this launch with you today. One of the cool things that we like to do is share what's going on in spaceflight with people all over the world, whether it's the fleet cam that you see here, boosters coming back into port, launches happening from basically everywhere they launch rockets from that we're allowed to go. Our 24/7 streams, we've got Starbase Live over there from Starbase, where you can watch the development of the Starship Super Heavy program 24/7. And birds, too. They sometimes walk in front of our cameras and are quite comedic. But however you want to stay up with spaceflight and whatever sort of fan you are, whether you're a hardcore fan that can't get enough of it 24/7, or whether you just like showing up for the launches and fast forward to the part where we stop talking and you can hear the rockets. Thank you so much for being a part of this, making it happen here for us, and supporting us in every different way that you do. But for now, we're going to go ahead and sign off for that launch of the Falcon 9 from 640 out of the Space Force Station, and we will see you nerds later.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
Chamber pressure looks good. Toggling up. Roger, roll, Atlanta.
Water towers can fly!
Tango Delta nominal.
Flight down, SE off. Bring in, SE off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.